Hello, team. It's time for the Daily Detangler. Hello. I am working on understanding the journey I've been on. I wanted to take a minute and process the detangler journey because I wanted to put a kind of a bow around what's been happening, and then ask for some help. So what I did was I took an inventory of the journey that I went through on the detanglers. I'm going to call out some observations and some things that I'm curious about, and see what happens. Maybe there's something that can evolve from this, and also things that we can work on together and take things to the next level. And selfishly, I wanted to do it because I wanted to kind of celebrate a win, so to speak. I'm happy with the progress I've made on it and feeling good about doing this consistently. And I needed a win this week, so I'm going to call this out as a win and reflect on it. So just some by the numbers here. I started these about a year ago in October. So today is the 15th of 2021. In that time, I've done about 140 detanglers. The first was published on the October 13th. I stopped after 23 of them, after about 4 months. And I had, I basically did it for about a month here, and I took 4 months off. So that was the stop late last year, as I was rolling into Thanksgiving. I didn't pick it up till March. So I took 4 months off of doing them, but I did do 23. So I'm going to break out, take a look at the 23 I did before the stop, and then pick up with what happened after I came back from my hiatus, where I did about 6 months of them, 19 a month or so, 116 in that 6 months. When I pulled out all the unique slides, there's about 1,300 slides that I made, and it's about 9 slides per detangler. So that's the rundown. What I did was I just grouped these. I took the 23 from the pre-hiatus, and then I took the remainings and I just divided it by 3. So that created 4 groups of detanglers. And what I did was I actually took the titles. So I took the titles, and based on the titles, I took the groupings, and I'll show you those. Now. So let me see. Put this into view mode. All right. So here's the just some of the titles here on the first batch. The first batch was like trying to figure out what to do, starting off strong, trying to create some clarity, encountering reality, being curious, changing the world, understanding expectations, adding value, orchestrating success, making progress, teaming with others. Right. So this is the pre-hiatus stuff. So if you want to read that, you can pause. For the when I came back, here's the grouping. The first grouping. So opening doors, finding center. I had a lot of work that I did on kind of this balancing act between the customer's world and our world, leaning into some of the conundrum topics like human nature and elegance, decoding elegance, talking about empathy for executives. So our mindset, expectations, the expectations that we have on us, things about like, the mindset piece, staying positive, letting go, taking action, the difference between action and activity, and thriving in the middle. This is that change journey. There's a whole series of stuff that I did on the idea of the change journey, and what does that change journey impact, and how do we get detangled. The idea of processing a situation. A lot of the work I did in this group is on inputs coming at me and how do I handle those inputs, and also how do I try to lean into concepts that Catalyst has put out to focus on moving across the change bridge. And I remember, that work to try to figure out how do I affect change? How does change happen, if you will? How do I trust the process? How do I focus on what's possible, right? Leaning into the mindset shifts, et cetera. So then on the third grouping, taking stock, leaning into the present, the now, plugging into the team. So this was a lot about being in the moment, focusing on what's happening right now, learning by doing, leaning into storytelling, talking about pattern interrupting, kind of the status quo, the bad habits, if you will, trying to figure out how to talk about experiences and making choices and choosing to respond and figuring things out and being innovative, creative. And then we started uncovering the whole, and working with the Tangle stuff in this batch, where tangles started taking more shape, and what are some draft concepts of tangles, and what is the value of getting people detached from the current status quo to rethink about how to move forward and how to not get paralyzed, and get leaning into curiosity and innovation and growth. And then the fourth batch, doubling down on the idea of the tangles, working on situations, understanding situations, balancing, getting outside the comfort zone, a deep dive on each of the tangles, change management, if you will, and how do I manage to plug into a team? How does change happen? Working together with others to create something from nothing. There was a lot that happened here on helping people see. I was trying to get into that and unpacking basically what communication we need to be doing to help people see. There was also the stone soup piece, which is I think in the third batch, where I spent a lot of time on stone soup in there. So these are the topics. I'd love to hear your feedback on these topics. So what? Well, when I take a look at these, I see, observations are important. So doing something daily about what's happening, created a list of topics in my role that I definitely would not have come up with if I weren't immersed into the day-to-day reality. There's also an evolution that happened in these topics and in these detanglers of my own understanding of what's going on, but also what I was seeing. So externally, what I was seeing, and then internally, what I was learning. And this idea of the more I learned, the more I saw, the more I saw, the more I learned, right? Like a flywheel. The whole backward bike, knowledge does not equal understanding. So we know that change happens, but do we understand what its impact is on everybody? There's a complete difference in learning by doing versus explaining what was learned. The second and third batch, the third and fourth batch of the Tanglers I showed you were mostly built on the fly, without a lot of forethought, by just reacting and using the Detangler vehicle as a way to publish what I was learning and seeing. The value then, it was in the actual act of doing. Some of the slides were total crap, but it's the idea of figuring it out. And they're looking at them now, I'm like, oh wow, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But most of the slides were definitely in the vein of figuring out and trying to articulate the challenges that I was seeing and trying to make them accessible so people could get detangled, right? Like, what is the idea of that value is in doing it, but then what is the value that was created? What's the impact? I think the journey is definitely repeatable. I use this. I use those topics now. I actually have shared some of these topics with others. In the consulting work that I'm doing, I am using, tangles and detangling and helping people understand. I'm using it to engage and to help people tap into the human nature of what's going on. I mean, we're in a massively shifting VUCA environment, and a lot of people just don't know what to do. So embracing that, leaning into the humanness of it has been great, and hopefully valuable to you as somebody listening to these, and also to others that we're impacting, because I think there's something in the atomic building block of a human to human, or the battle of your mind, the battle that happens in the mind, and the battle that happens in the group, to get plugged in, to let go of our inner, personal tangles, is critical to innovation and creating something from nothing. And we all have challenges. So how do we make this normal to talk about? So going forward, I think for me, I'm curious about what are the major themes here, and does this align to the change journey? I took the inventory, but what's the journey across these batches over a year? Maybe we can plot these out together. I also see a lot of backward bike in learning how to do something different, and just publishing where I've stumbled or what I've learned along the way by doing the backward bike activity of just trying to be customer centric. And it's really, really interesting that being customer centric and figuring out how to operate and create something from nothing can be so disruptive. It's so disruptive to people, to me. And I published that out in here, like, wow, this is not taught. It's not widely embraced. People think they're doing it, but they're really not. And it's really interesting. So how do we help people see, right? And I see a lot of the C slides in there, and really excited about possibly getting those out to share with people, so I can continue the learning. And the value there to me is in publishing the Daily Detangler is the overview over time, and the journey over time, and the documentation of what's going on, and the idea that a lot of the constructs that we plug into, that I certainly plug into, are man-made business decisions. They're not universal truths of business. The universal laws of business around exchanging value and understanding transactions, those are universal laws. But the rest of this stuff's man-made attempts to control that. And in the man-made attempts to control that, it's become outdated. It just doesn't work anymore. And people are coming to realize that, and it's putting them through the meat grinder. And I can relate to that because I've been in it. So I think there's value in that experience, and sharing that to free people up to explore something new, and to feel less like they're out on a limb, and feel like others have done this before. So I'd love to hear what you think about that, and what you're curious about. So that's the synthesis, or actually just the rundown, with some themes and some findings from them. Just putting it out there and connecting the dots and trusting the process. And I appreciate the opportunity to serve with the Daily Detangler. And it's been a great year of doing these, and I look forward to continuing and really trying to take things to the next level. What should I do next, and what can I do next, and how do I move to the next level? Where do I go, and how does that look, and how do we embrace, or how do I embrace the change journey to the next level? So I look forward to your feedback on that.